getting bored? Don't worry. We at Kidzpreneur, a child-oriented organization, have come up with a talk series to keep you engaged through this quarantine time. And in this, we make sure that we discuss something that will keep you engaged. Kidzpreneur is an organization that nurtures mindsets and makes them future ready by exposing young minds to hands-on management tools and tips, which in turn develops their leadership skills into the entrepreneurship abilities from a very young age. We now have a very short video to tell you a little more about it.
You may be surprised to know. Kids' creativity peaks at the age of 5 and they can start to learn 5 foreign languages or more simultaneously at that age. NASA reports an average kid's creativity falls by almost 86% until adulthood. A young mind is like a fertile land where ideas keep growing but fail to take proper shape in absence of proper guidance. We, at Kidzpreneur, nurture mindsets and make them future-ready by exposing young minds to hands-on management tools and tips, which in turn, develops their leadership skills into the entrepreneurship abilities, at a very young age. We implement simulation and real-time scenarios and gamify critical management lessons for effective learning. The entire activity is transformative to cultivate the thought process of becoming the future entrepreneur and employment creator. We skill, we test and we invest in teams with promising ideas without fear of failure, as we believe that we must prepare kids for failure and the success will follow. Creating thought leader for tomorrow. Find out more about us on kidspreneur.com or visit us on social networks.
Mr. Amit Mishra and Mr. Shishir Miglani are the co-founders of this venture. Today we have with us Mr. Amit and Ms. Shruti. Mr. Amit Mishra donned several hats as an entrepreneur and enabler in the startup ecosystem. In his previous stint with international players like F6S UK and Samsung Japan, he has been instrumental in successful India market entry. He is also a TEDx speaker. Welcome, Mr. Amit. Why don't you tell us something today about your childhood days?
Thanks, Aditi, and welcome, Priyanka. Happy to be here. So my childhood has been a little different. My childhood has been a little different than the usual kids. At the age of 16, two of us started our own entrepreneurship gig in a city called Ludhiana, and that's how it have started for me. We did all the kinds of games, everything, but I think the thing to do things differently than others, I think that pushed me to do more. And whenever I've seen Priyanka and Kshitij, who is a co-founder and husband, I've loved the idea, since I know them. And the interesting part is, so the first thing I remember, Priyanka, is I saw that business card, which you can cut off and make a small plane out of it, right? That is very unique, and that's the beauty of that we are creating and innovating everything. So would love to welcome you again. If you can talk about your journey, how did you start at CocoMoco? What has been your childhood been?
So thanks for having me here, guys. I'll begin with talking about my childhood. I always loved extracurriculars besides beyond studies. Like from dancing to participating in all the quizzes to being the prefect just going beyond studies was always me. I was also into sports. I did not have any stint with entrepreneurship, nor did we have too many workshops or classes like we do today. So it was really a lot of free play back then for us. And I was also lucky to live in many different cities because my dad was in a transferable job. The places we lived in were always like in the middle of nature. So there was a lot of walking through rivers and climbing trees. It sounds very poetic, but really that's really how cantonment lives are for kids. As for CocoMoco Kids, we started this 6 years back actually. So I was working in advertising, and Kshitij was also running a digital agency. And I think, so I was definitely fed up of screen time in my office, where we were just in front of our computers all the time till late nights. And coming from there, even back then, we realized that, there's a space for physical toys for children. 6 years back, there were not too many companies in the market like there are today. So it was a very unexplored space where we got into, where making games which were card games and board games for children, just to keep them off screen time, because digital natives was the term that was coined for the new kids. And the whole idea was to bring them back to tangible products.
Interesting. So I think that, and how has been your journey till now? The traction, I think you've been doing this for what, 6-7 years now?
Yeah, 6 years.
Right. So what has been your journey till now? What are the learnings, working with kids at all levels and, selling these toys?
So lots of learnings, honestly. So one thing is that, like I said, suddenly there are lots and lots of brands now in the market, for educational toys and games. That's one thing. The other learning has been that, what we think that kids will buy and love is very different from what actually ends up selling, because the buyer here is not children, it's the mothers. Right?
Right.
So the mother is purchasing and the user is somebody else, and we have to sort of strike a balance between the two. Something that the mother will pick, but the children will love to play. So that is something that we have to always try to strike a balance between.
Sure.
And another thing is that the Indian market now is really like trying to find new products, and everyone is looking to engage their kids with new products. It's not Barbie and Lego, it's beyond that now.
True.
So, ma'am, as we all want to know, how are CocoMoco toys different from the other toys that are available out there in the market? Like, what makes them distinct and different from the others?
So one thing is that we have a niche of geography games. So we are known for our travel games and geography games. That's one topic that's very close to our heart. So you will see a lot of maps and map-based activities and games with us. Other thing is that we are very design-led. Both of us, both the founders, we are, we both have design backgrounds in our work. And so we are very particular about how our designs are. So, unlike the usual, the look and feel is very design led. So it's not just about how the game will be enjoyed by the child, but how good does it look? That's another thing that we really try to concentrate on. And what we've also tried to crack is really good design and quality at very reasonable rates. So like you'll find products for 300, 400, 500 rupees with us.
So, ma'am, this is a continuous journey where you're, designing toys for the kids and all. So, what inspires you to, design another game or another product for those kids out there?
Contrary to what you might think, running this business is not just about designing the toys. So designing the toys is of course the fun part, in which everyone might feel is is so exciting to run. But other than that, it's just inventory management, sales, marketing, just how any business would be. Product part is one part, and where we get our inspiration from is, okay, then we try to, again, here we try to see what kids love to play and what kids need to learn, right? So we mix these two elements, what they need to learn and what they love to play, and that's how we come up with games according to the skill sets that the kids should acquire and at what age groups, and covering all subjects.
That was great, ma'am. So otherwise, we, try to keep the kids away from the screen, like the parents also try to keep them away. But these days, during this lockdown time, what is happening is the kids are having the classes also online. So how can we, try to minimize the screen time during these times for them?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, a lot of parents have writing to us about this. The fact that school hours are now till afternoon and they're all online. unlike any normal day where kids would go to school, come back, and parents would basically just hand over the phone or the iPad and say, "Here, stay busy." That's not happening anymore. But there are lots and lots of ways that the kids can be engaged. One is if you just have a structure to their day after the classroom sessions online. So, you could have 1 hour of gardening, kids can adopt a plant, and, 40, 50 days is a good amount of time to see the growth of the plant from seed to, a full plant. They can help their parents with folding clothes, especially toddlers, with baking. They learn measurements through it, cleaning up. These are great ways to also develop their gross skills and gross motor skills and fine motor skills for younger kids. For the older kids, I think, again, besides, gardening, which is something they can do family game nights. I think they can also do courses together, like parents and kids can together learn, let's say, a sign language or some language, or, you even have classes on grammar right now. You can create, so considering everyone's at home right now, there's also lack of exercising, which children really need. And children don't get tired if they've not exercised by night. So for that, I think one way is you can create obstacle courses inside the house. Take bottles, take cans, take boxes, make kids jump over it, fine tune their way. So it's like a race that you can create at home. Other than that, regular physical training sessions online, which are available for free. Parents can do it with the kids. Parents can lead the kids. The kids can do some creative writing classes. Anything that they do should have structure right now. I think one thing that should not be concentrate right now is free play, because anyways the day is so chaotic right now. It's very important to bring structure. You could probably begin the day with giving them a planner or a chores chart, that these are the tasks you have to do from Monday to Friday every day. 1 hour is dedicated to puzzle time, 1 hour is dedicated to gardening, 1 hour is family game time, 1 hour you're going to be cleaning up your room, stuff like that. So it's very structured for them, and they have a schedule, because this is going to go on for at least till August. And it's very important that they have a set schedule doing other things. Movies can be restricted to maybe, once or twice a week, considering they're on screen all day during the day. A lot of DIY is good. That's do-it-yourself activities. Kids can create their own toys, art, painting. Again, this is a good time to upskill yourself. Even if you are doing art for children, don't just do random art, but like learn different forms of art. There's pointillism. Learn different arts. It could be folk art. So it's a great time to actually have expert skills.
I hope that's really going to help the parents, to come out of this and help their kids keep away from the screen for longer times. Also, one more question that we have in our heads is, how do you maintain the work-life balance in your life, when you're handling so much at such a, like, when you're handling so much, so how do you maintain work-life balance in your life?
Amit and I were discussing this a while back. I work, my co-founder is Kshitij, who's also my husband. So honestly, a work-life balance is very easy to strike when you're working, let's say, with family, because there's no shortage of quality time. But I do switch off work conversations beyond a certain time. You get exhausted and switch off by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and then you do other things. You pursue your hobbies or you meet friends. Of course, right now with COVID, there's a lot of time in hand, and there's just no difficulty in maintaining the work-life balance right now at all. We are all working from home, but for me, this is usually the routine. Otherwise, to going to office and working with the people, my family, it comes easily. I got lucky with that.
As you told us, ma'am, that there are so many other segments also into your business, like sales and marketing. So, like earlier, when you were working for a job, you had a niche area where you were working, like maybe advertising. So, how do you handle so many aspects for your organization now? Like, how do you do that?
So I think for any entrepreneur, and Amit will agree on this, is that we obviously can't be experts at everything, right? So what you have to do is you have to hire the right people. You have to outsource your tasks. So I enjoy doing sales, so that is something I concentrate on. But I'm not a social media expert, so we have a social media team that handles that. There's somebody who takes care of the marketing, right? So you hire the right resources, the right people who know their job. And I think that's the best way to run a company. You just have to get the right team in place.
Also, ma'am, how do you think that, like, is there a way that CocoMoco Kids can come up with some toys or ideas, which can promote entrepreneurship in kids?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that is something I should sit with Amit on and discuss. The thing is that entrepreneurship cannot fit into a box, and you can't just make a toy out of it. But I guess something like what Kidzpreneur is doing, where you are encouraging children to come up with ideas, helping them and guiding them. So it's like a service that helps you through every step, guiding you on what you can do. And another thing I realize is that luckily, because we're in India and we have a lot of Diwali melas and melas for different festivals, those are great places for kids to learn entrepreneurship. Make small things and sell. Right now, parents should actually get their kids to make masks and either sell to their societies or make masks and donate. I mean, small things like this even can be done right now at home. Other than that, platforms like Kidzpreneur are great for teaching them entrepreneurship.
Right. So Priyanka, I actually saw these card game around startups recently. When I was visiting 91 Springboard Goa, and I was surprised. So they had a card which says mentor, right? So I think somebody would become mentor, somebody would become investor. So people are coming with these interesting ideas. I think it's just about how do you package and market them.
Yeah, actually, once we had thought of making a game, and I think we should make it. We're actually thinking of making trump cards. You know how we used to have those WWF cards on wrestling and all, right?
Yeah.
Where we talked about their height, weight, and stuff like that, and you would play amongst the ranks. If we could do that with like startups, and a separate version of it for women-led startups too, just to inspire kids,
Sure.
So both the versions, that's something that can be played upon as well.
Interesting. I think we should definitely look into that. This will be very interesting for the kids to learn in a fun way. Right?
Yeah. Another thing.
There are no pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure of at least raising money, which is
Yeah.
always
on us. Yeah. There's another thing, I think, just making like DIY kits where kids can make things and then telling them now you can go and sell these. So, you give them the finest of materials, tell them to make things and then tell them to sell.
right.
That's a very simple form of entrepreneurship, the beginning where you learn to sell. I think because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is always about not just building a product, but about selling it too.
Right. So that's exactly what I did with my friend, and we wanted to do this. And this actually came from us, not from our parents, because all our parents, telling us, don't do this, you're too young and all that.
Yeah.
And being a textile city, we actually bought, clothes from somebody we knew, and then forced actually all our friends to buy something from us.
Right. So that's the way to do it. In fact, that should very well be encouraged at a younger age to know how much it takes, to sell a lemonade.
Correct. Yeah. Agreed. Sorry, Aditi, please go on. I just got excited with this entire idea of card games.
No, this entire idea of CocoMoco Kids is, very creative and very, attractive, where, the kids are able to learn while playing. So this is, I think, that should be happening these days. The children stick to the screens and they're actually not able to do the right things and learn the right things at the right age. I know, even there are parents who are promoting their kids, promoting more of the screen time to their kids, like to get free time for themselves. There was this yoga class that I was going to. So there was this mother who was coming with her child. The child was small, about 2-3 years old. So to do that 1 hour of yoga for herself, she used to give a phone to that child for 1 straight hour. The child is using the phone for 1 straight hour. So in a way, I feel that parents are here promoting like screen time. So what are the the pros and the cons that you can suggest here for this thing? And like you could, if you could advise parents, to avoid doing these things.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand the importance of me time for parents. I understand that if they have a yoga class or any time that they need to themselves, but I think it's very important to engage the kids with the right thing at the same time. So either you enroll them for the classes, or the child can do yoga too, right? Or hand them a book. 1 hour of reading is great. How have we forgotten to hand over books to the kids instead of um, iPads and phones? In fact, there's another very bad habit a lot of children you will see is that they only eat if they are given a phone or an iPad in hand. That is something that really needs to change. Because you're not mindfully eating the food, you can choke on the food, you don't even know what you've eaten if you're going to be on the screen, right? So these are things that have to be discouraged, and it's very important to find what your child likes to do, help them build those things. So every child may not want to read, but the child may like to play, so the child can be left in a play area, right? Some child might like books more, can be left to the book. Drawing, you can just take a drawing notebook with colors. If you've gone for your yoga class, the child can sit outside and color. Give them a Rubik's Cube, something as simple as that. Kid can be busy for hours. You can just take a jigsaw puzzle with you, and the child will be sitting there outside solving a puzzle, right? These are just simple things that come on top of my head, but very simple, basic things that kids should be doing.
Now, I think like these suggestions will help some of the parents out there who are looking for suggestions during these times. And also, if you can think of so many things in such a small time, parents can actually, give in more time for thinking about all these things.
Absolutely. In fact, there's one more thing that I've missed. There are a lot of worksheets available online right now for free and otherwise also. These are great to just print and keep ready in your house anytime. So 1 hour of doing worksheets for any age group every day. For younger kids, it could be on counting, alphabet. For the older kids, it can be, algebra, math, logic. These worksheets are a great way to keep kids engaged. And if you, again, taking the yoga class example, or anything that you're busy with, you can hand over a few worksheets to your kid and say, hey, solve these, play these games and join the dots and things like that. And that's a great way to keep them engaged as well.
Those were very great ideas, ma'am. Also, we are really glad to have you here with us and share your views and ideas and all those inspirational stories with us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Aditi. Thank you, Amit.
Thanks, Priyanka. I think these are very interesting ideas, and this will only come from somebody who has been interacting with kids and parents, for so long. We used to ask, all our guests about these ideas, but these are actually very thorough, very detailed, and action-oriented for parents. So, thank you again so much.
Every day, and mothers are throwing in great ideas. In fact, somebody was telling me that there are even photography classes and coding classes for kids right now, and mobile app development. And there's somebody doing journalism classes for kids. So that's great. I mean, if there are kids in class 11th and 12th and 10th, and right now, if they're sitting free for 1 hour every day, they can take up a journalism class. You learn how to sort of report. You hear big journalists or journalists tell you how to write. And that's pretty inspiring as well.
That was great, ma'am. Great having you again, as I said. So before we close today's session, I would like to introduce a new initiative by Kidzpreneur to the parents and kids out there, KidzLive. During these testing times under the COVID-19 situation, the vacuum that has been created has forced us to face times that we had never dreamt of. Engaging kids has become quite, an effort during these times when they're inside their homes 24/7. This initiative, like many others, may help in keeping your child engaged. Thank you so much.